Save the Semantics, episode 325. It is June 18th, 2025. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on for a bit about some shit. Recording this on a Wednesday afternoon / evening. It feels like it's gotten a lot hotter in the last couple of days. Today in particular, there was a moment there. Not like excruciatingly hot or anything like that, but yeah, we're definitely, really kind of creeping into summer, which is both, well, I'm not the biggest fan of summer, so, I hope that I can kind of avoid the heat in a lot of, instances, if I can. So, no basketball for the last couple of days. I'm going absolutely stir crazy. I'm losing my mind. No. What am I going to do with myself when the season ends? No, I'll be fine. But I mean, I don't know if I've really noted this, but this has really been the most engaged I've been with basketball for the longest time, right? I would say maybe 2021, 22 with, the Warriors run especially. I was pretty engaged during then, but the last couple of years or so, I've started to delve deeper into kind of more outside of my own team and that kind of thing. But I would say throughout the season, this has been the most engaged that I've been in a long time, through the finals, right? Which I think is kind of a telltale sign that this has been a pretty incredible season overall. And I've already kind of talked real in depth about these playoffs and everything, but I think it's just kind of a testament to how good it's been, really. We can kind of lament over various issues that the league faces and all of the surrounding external factors, whether it's relating to the inaccessibility to watch games, the incessant gambling ads, potential issues with just refereeing and all that stuff, right? Even though I would place that to a lower degree, there is still lots of things that can be improved. But I think despite that, it has been really just a great viewing experience, as coming from kind of a neutral fan here. So good stuff. I've been really happy, and there's kind of this feeling going into Game 6 tomorrow that this might be the end. I feel like. And I think kind of with some of the news regarding Halliburton, it seems like he's probably going to try to push through, but he's not going to be at 100%. It's been kind of it's been a mistake to doubt the Pacers during these playoffs, but I think it definitely feels like this is kind of the end here. Game 6 feels like this could be kind of the closing act, if you will. I mean, of course, I would love for Indiana to surprise me. They've continued to surprise everyone and delight everyone with their play. But yeah, this OKC team is just something. And if Indiana's not at full strength, then it's a little hard for me to see the pathway through. But you never know. Crazier things have happened. Crazy things have happened in recent memory. So, again, as I've kind of been knocking this point, hoping for Game 7, and even if this ends the way that I kind of expect it does in an OKC win in Game 6, I hope it's competitive. I hope that it's a close game, and that we kind of get, I don't know, I hope we get a really good ending in a way, right? I hope that these teams kind of lay it all. I mean, they have sort of laid it out all all on the court, right? But this is kind of that final stand, especially for Indiana. So if they are going to lose in a very, I guess, honorable fashion. I don't know, because I think that would be a nice cap to this season. So yeah, I mean, what have I been doing with no basketball? So I've been kind of catching up a little bit on some gaming stuff. Played a little bit of Xenoblade X here and there, and I've also, I talked, yesterday about Rogue Legacy 2 and how I kind of wrapped that up. But I'm kind of wanting to try to venture into something else, and I've been really kind of like itching for like another kind of indie, colorful indie game, and I've had this sort of, well, I don't know if I've had this on my list necessarily, but it has been recommended throughout, just online discourses everywhere. And I decided to pick up Golf Story, which was on sale for $2 on the eShop. I'm like, that's great. That's like a great, that's a great deal. And apparently it's a pretty, it's a fairly lengthy game. It's not like super long, but I looked up how long to beat, and it's like 15-ish hours, which is like, that's a nice length right there. So yeah, I started playing that a little bit last night, and I put maybe like a couple hours in, and I can already kind of feel just like the charm and like the humor, and I can already get a sense of how ridiculous it's going to be. Basically, what it is that you're a golf player, and you're kind of going on this adventure. It's basically an RPG where you play golf, and it's great. I love it so far. Like, you do these like little, in the very beginning kind of area of the game, you're on this like one golf course, and you're like challenging other golfers, and you're also completing some other challenges where you're like trying to hit the, you're like hit the target with, hit the golf ball with your hit the target with your golf ball, and you earn money and experience, and you can like boost your stats and all that kind of stuff. So it's like all of these like RPG elements kind of packaged in with this kind of quirky golf story, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you got this sort of like pixelated graphics and everything, and the music is pretty fun as well. And there's like an overworld, and each like area is like a golf course. So you have like this like swampy area, and then you got like a winter golf course, and it's really funny. And I'm just, it's like, it's such like a, I don't know, I'm surprised that I haven't like picked this one up, because it feels kind of, in line with sort of the, that color of an indie game that I've been craving. And I mean, I've sort of wanted, this kind of game for a little while now, honestly. Like, I'm thinking back to, like the last time I played something kind of within this vein is probably like a Deltarune, which, speaking of, there is like the chapters that have come out, which I don't know if I'm going to get into anytime soon, but probably hold off for the time being, until like the story is like fully wrapped up, because basically now it's like a, like a $30 game, which I totally get, right? Like they charged, like Toby Fox didn't charge the first two chapters like they were free, so I understand you got to earn your money at a certain point. But I don't know, like, I've talked about like, some of the roguelike games that I've been playing and stuff. But in terms of like a more of like a focus on kind of like a more in-depth kind of game, I think it's been a little while since I've really gotten into it, especially with like like a smaller scale game of this nature. And it's just really, it's really charming, and I can't wait to pick it up and play it, later. It's just, it's fun. Like, the game mechanics are fun as well. Like, there's kind of like that golfing simulator aspect to it, but also, like, there is like actual strategy involved in terms of the way, how you hit the ball, which club you use. If you've played a golf game, you kind of know what to expect, but there's also like these obstacles and like all these other shenanigans that are like happening on the course as well. So it's really fun, and I'm excited to kind of see like where this sort of like ramps up to, because I definitely know for sure that it's gonna pick up. So yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll if anything else kind of pops up with it, if anything really sticks out to me, I'll definitely talk about it. But yeah, really fun so far. I also played, so this is kind of in lieu of the Donkey Kong Bonanza direct like overview that came out earlier today. I was kind of like, like, I'm kind of craving a little bit, I mentioned that I've been sort of maybe thinking about getting into more platformers and that kind of thing. I was like, I played a little bit of Donkey Kong Country like a while back. I might have just, sort of demoed the first like level of the game. But I played a little bit more last night, and yeah, I mean, the music is killer. I think that's been talked about a ton. It's an incredible soundtrack. If you watch like any YouTube video, you've probably heard it in the background at some point. But the music is incredible. The atmosphere, just like how that sort of like permeates through, is really, really impressive, especially for a game that came out, on the SNES, like, 25 plus years ago, probably longer than that now at this point, probably like 30 years now. So really, really great stuff. And, I don't know, I don't know if it's one of those games where I'm like itching to complete, but it does kind of have this sense of like, I do want to kind of pay my dues and pay my respects to the platforms that have sort of come before. And I've never really fully delved into any of the Donkey Kong games. And considering that I don't actually own really any of them on Switch, at least like the Country series is available on Switch Online. So I think that I might, maybe I'll continue to kind of delve into it, because I kind of want to, experience a little bit more of that. I don't know, how much of it I want to like to necessarily like play, but it's cool. I think it's definitely, it's got that old school kind of platformer feel. And I'm not like the biggest fan of old school platformers. Like, I just cannot get into like old Mario. Like, that is just not, it's a little too, I don't want to say archaic, because that makes it sound like it's, super outdated. But, it's older. It's an older game, right? Like, even the ones from like the SNES, like, I just can't, I don't know. I just could never really get into it. So at least maybe I'll do a little bit more of like Donkey Kong stuff. Because, yeah, I didn't like get up to watch the trailer, because like, I'm not like the biggest like Donkey Kong fan by any means, but I watched it a little later, like around like lunchtime or so, just checking it out. It looks incredible, like Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks incredible. It's basically Odyssey, but Donkey Kong. and with kind of additional mechanics and, gameplays and gameplay methods and all that stuff. It looks, yeah, I mean, it just looks so fun. Like it's just like such a like it's kind of a blast to the senses, it feels like, right? So I'll definitely need to kind of like I will probably eventually play this, right? I mean, this is seeing this like a kind of is kind of an incentive. Listen, it's kind of an incentive for me to want to pick this up, and want to pick up the Switch too, because I mean, that's what sells consoles, man. Is the games that are exclusive to them, and this is one of those. And I just was like, it just looks it looks awesome, man. It's been a long time since I've played Odyssey, but I remember just having like such a fun time with it. Like it was like the first Mario game. Really, honestly, the first Mario game that I really played through, because I can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not like a huge Mario guy. But Mario Odyssey was just like top notch, right? You don't even really have to be a fan because of just how layered and just how vibrant the game is, and I can kind of see some of that reflected in this new Donkey Kong game, and it's really making me kind of want to get into it because it looks awesome. And the music too, like the music is super like bombastic, and there's just like so many different like throwback tunes and homages and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just, yeah, it's like that kind of like 3D action platformer that you kind of want to get your hands on, and I'm sort of in that boat. It's like I'm getting this itch, man. I know I've been really good about staying composed, because it's like I just can't. It's a little hard for me to kind of justify getting one, considering all the things that I've already talked about. But if a game as good as that is on the system, and there's maybe some other things that I maybe want to pick up, yeah, that might just thoroughly convinced me to get the system. So, and then also on top of that, I saw I saw on my Switch icon, one of my friends was playing Mario Kart World, and I messaged him about it, and I was like, dude, I kind of want to, like, now it's like seeing that, it's like, man, I kind of want to play with him now. Like that sounds like an invitation of sorts, you know what I mean? Although maybe there is like a way, I think, with like game share and that kind of thing, maybe I'll ask him if I'm being cheap, like I'll ask him if he can share it with me. I don't know. But yeah, there's little things here and there, just like little things that are kind of picking away at my resolve in holding off and, holding steady and not picking up a Switch 2, but it's slowly chipping away. There's more reason for me to want to get it, maybe kind of even every day. And yeah, like it depends. I think this Donkey Kong game, and then whatever else that maybe comes out. I mean, Kirby Air Riders is a pretty big one, right? But if there's something else along the lines that kind of gets me interested and gets me excited, I don't know. Maybe that'll convince me to pick it up earlier than usual. But yeah. Anyways, that's gonna do it for now. I'll hold off on I'll probably record again maybe later today, or excuse me, tomorrow. Just to do maybe like one more final preview of Game 6, and just kind of going into that. And just talk about my prediction. I've already kind of mentioned what my prediction is, but maybe just kind of, talk a little bit more about that. And, yeah, maybe I'll delve into some other things that I've been seeing, and kind of the game, in gaming news and that kind of stuff. Other games that I might be interested in picking up. There's a lot of instances of that. So yeah, maybe I think the next time I'll record will be tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned. I mean, I guess again, it'll be right after this. All right, recording this on June 20th. I'll make this a bit of a quick one. I was intending on recording yesterday, but had some errands to run. But anyways, it might be better anyway, because Game 6 happened last night of the Pacers Thunder, and we're going to Game 7. We're going to Game 7. For the first time in 9 years since 2016, which still hurts me. Still hurts me, but I understand the historical context and all that. I get it. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna be salty about it, right? But yeah, first time we're getting a Game 7 in almost 10 years in the NBA Finals. And yeah, I don't really know what to expect, because going into this Game 6, I was expecting that the Thunder I was expecting a close game, but I was expecting them to handle business, right? And it was a complete opposite of that. It was a blowout. And the Pacers just basically just fought back. At one point, it was a 30-point lead going into the fourth, I think, with like the Ben Shepherd, buzzer beating three. Crazy game. The sequence towards like the end and like the second quarter, especially like with the dunk from Pascal from the pass, like the look away pass by Halliburton. Crazy stuff. I mean, that little stretch that they went on was like super impressive. And just, it was so much fun to watch. There's just the ball movement that the Indiana has is just so aesthetically pleasing, and it's just such like a embodiment of like what basketball is, like what watching really great basketball is. Their defense is just continuing to like impress. Like they switched up. They look. I'm just not as high a level of an understanding on like coverages and all that, but it looks like they did change how they defended a little bit from prior games, and that seemed to work pretty well. I mean, it just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like strategically they were doubling Shea at the right times, and they were pressuring him at the right times, and the other players on the Thunder weren't able to capitalize. Like Chet had a bad game. He had that one like missed dunk from like the Hartenstein alley-oop, and that was a pretty big miss. But yeah, I mean, overall it was much more just how impressive these Pacers continue to be, and I think it's easy to look at what happened in previous Game 7s, the Thunder in the Denver series, where they blew Denver out. And then you could see last year's Pacers against the Knicks, in which they, kind of took care of business, but it's all so situational. I think a finals Game 7 is just so much, it's so different. So I have no idea. I don't know what to expect. I don't know. Like, it could be like a blowout. Maybe it is a blowout by the Thunder, but I just don't think so. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be a really close game. I'm really hoping for that, right? I think everybody's hoping for one just game that could really determine it and on the scale it is. And listen, I don't think like I said, I don't think the Thunder, like, sure, they're back home, I guess you're confident at home, but also this is like, if you lose on your home court in Game 7, like, I know what that feeling is like. I know what that's like, and it's terrible. you don't want to be a part of it. You want to get away from that as quickly as possible if you're a Thunder fan. You know what I mean? Like that type of like legacy, if you want to call it that, especially if they aren't able to like get back to that position in the future. It's kind of like that's just part of their history now, you know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of nerves going into it, and I think like Indiana kind of has there's really not as much pressure on Indiana as the Thunder. Of course, there's gonna be, it's like, of course they're gonna feel that pressure regardless, right? But I mean more so just in terms of the external factors and how people are going to view the team. And like, you're like a 68 win team that's had a historical defense and considered one of the best teams in NBA history. Like, listen, I don't think it's going to be to the same, it's not going to be held to the same degree as this, 73-10 Warriors, but I do think that there is going to be some type of discussion attached to it, right? Especially if you are of a team of this caliber, right? Which, myself included, I've predicted that they were going to win. So I think there's going to be a lot that's resting on them. There's going to be that pressure, and I think Indiana's kind of playing with what they have now, like kind of in a similar situation to what it was when they won game one, right? Where it just kind of really swung heavily in their favor. It's not ideal to play at away in a closing game by any means, but it really puts that pressure back on the Thunder in order for them to like kind of capitalize. Like maybe they just come through with it. Maybe it's a situation where they're just like, hey, listen, we blew game 6. We played really poorly, but we're here. Like we're the best team and we're going to show out. Like we've seen instances of them being able to do that. Like if they completely just like go off and just take control, it's like, all right, I guess this is that, then that's just how it goes. Like they just showed out that they were the best team this season, and that maybe this game kind of solidifies that, you know what I mean? But I have this feeling that just considering where both of these teams are, you have like Indiana, who's led by a veteran head coach, who's an incredibly experienced head coach, and then you got a bunch of players who really don't have much to like lose necessarily, right? It's like the fact that they've gotten to this point is enough already, I think. And so they just kind of have that, there's like the utmost confidence going into this game. And especially on the heels of that game 6 performance. So I don't listen. I've been keeping, my predictions are completely gone now because I said I was like, all right, Thunder in 5, okay, Thunder in 6, and I've been wrong. I don't I can't switch to Pacers since I really do think the Thunder have just not played to that level. Like their best, like. Listen, they've had good games. Like game 5, you had the pretty spectacular performance from like their 3 best players. Well, I guess 2 best players with Shea and Jalen Williams. But I think, and Shea had a pretty bad game 6. So I'm assuming he's gonna come and face the test. Is he going to be enough to put them forward? Like, it's going to come down to, like, I think it's going to be a situation where their depth, whoever is going to come off the bench, right? Their bench and their role players have performed better at home, so maybe that's just, like, the case. But, again, this is Game 7, so I think a lot of that kind of discourse is thrown out the window a little bit. Like, we just don't know what to expect. And I'm like, I don't even really want to give a prediction necessarily. I think it's going to be Thunder. I think the Thunder are going to find a way to pull it out. I think it's going to be close, though. I don't think... I really hope it's not a blowout. I really hope it's... I really hope it's like... I really hope this game gives me, like, a heart attack. You know what I mean? I hope this game, like, stresses me out in a good way. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I do think the Thunder are going to pull it out, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, it hasn't been this whole series. It's going to Game 7. I'm just happy that we got one more game. Pacers showed out. They showed up. They defended elimination. Man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, just anything's possible. And that's, and then just like the way the way the Pacers have been, anything is possible. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready for this final game of the season. And, yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good one. I don't know, man. Like, if it goes down the way we kind of want it to go, I think this series might go down as one of the best in quite a long time, right? In the last, like, who knows, 20 years maybe? Because, like, how many 7-game series have there been, right? Obviously 2016. I get it. But if we get, like, a high caliber Game 7, I think this will be held as, like, I think it'll be held as, like, I mean, it has been an incredible series so far. And I think it's just so fitting that we get one more. And, yeah, I don't know what else to add. I think it's going to be, listen, it's the perfect cap to the end of this season. We will see what's going to be the best team. And, yeah, there's going to be, I think, obviously discourse is going to be kind of like, whatever. I don't engage too much with it. I would like the Pacers to win, obviously. Like, I've kind of been on that wave for a little bit now, just because they're an incredible team to watch. And if they can manage to pull this one off, I think it will be one of the... Yeah, we'll get into that. I don't even want to put that out there. I already have, but you know what I mean. So yeah, Game 7. I will talk about it. I'll either talk... I kind of want to talk about it, like, as soon as the game is over. We'll see. We'll see if I can squeeze that in. Because Monday I'm going to be kind of busy, so I don't know if I'll have the time to record. So it might have to be Sunday night. We'll see. We will see. But anyways, we're going to Game 7. That's it. That's the episode for today. And that's the episode for this week. Well, not this week, but that's the episode. Thanks for listening as always. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.